Here's how Marvel's What If will introduce a brand new super team. The Marvel Cinematic Universe is about to fully embrace its new status as the Marvel Cinematic Multiverse with the launch of What If on Disney Plus next week. We'll follow the most mysterious, tallest baby in the Marvel Universe, Uatu the Watcher, as he takes us on a journey through the multiverse itself to ponder a series of different questions that all begin with the same two words, what if? For example, what if Peggy Carter received the super soldier serum? What if T'Challa became Star-Lord? What if Spider-Man became the Sorcerer Supreme? All of those questions will be answered in due time. But the biggest question that fans have had thus far about What If is whether or not this series is simply an animated anthology, a way to explore the many facets of the multiverse that spawned after Sylvie called He Who Remains his bluff and found out that he wasn't lying. Or if these stories are actually interconnected with not only each other, but the Marvel Cinematic Universe at large. Well, the current theory, supported by interviews with the cast and crew and merchandise that has found its way online, is What If is both. It will both tell self-contained stories about hypothetical situations across the multiverse like the comic book on which it's based, and it will also seemingly be building towards the introduction of a larger super team in the vein of one of my all-time favorite comic book series, Exiles, the so-called Guardians of the Multiverse. Now, while nothing's confirmed just yet, if this theory does prove to be true, it could be considered a spoiler for What If. And with that said, if you're worried about that kind of thing, leave now so you don't have to pretend like you're one of the people in the room who doesn't understand.
Slow down a little bit. There's a few people in the room that don't understand. Not me, I get it.
Okay, let's get into it, shall we? So we've known from the very first What If trailer that we could be seeing alternate versions of familiar superhero team-ups. Case in point, we see the iconic shot of the assembled Avengers during the Battle of New York, which quickly transitions to a similar shot in a futuristic ruined cityscape, but with a very different crew fighting what appears to be the same battle. We see Star-Lord, Gamora, Black Panther, and Thor. But whether this is the exact same Battle of New York remains to be seen. However, that's certainly the implication from the trailers. The trailers also tease some of these unexpected team-ups through the dueling locus points of Peggy Carter and Stephen Strange. We see the Ancient One explaining how time and reality are changeable to either Stephen Strange or maybe Peter Parker, followed by Doctor Strange encountering Peggy Carter in a mysterious space that looks like an extraplanar reality, like the space between timelines in the multiverse. Now, obviously, Doctor Strange is going to be one of our primary windows into the multiverse in the forthcoming live-action sequel, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, which is going to involve Nexus beings like Wanda Maximoff and multiverse-hopping characters like America Chavez. But what about Peggy Carter stylized in the What If series as Captain Carter? Well, this super soldier version of Peggy, who has appeared previously in both Marvel Puzzle Quest and the Exiles comics, could be the key to unlocking everything. Speaking with IO9, What If executive producer Brad Winderbaum explained that during the development of the series, they decided they needed someone who was not more important than the rest, but someone who had a strong relationship with the Watcher, who was our driving force behind the series, and that's Captain Carter. Winderbaum continued by explaining that Peggy will be crucial to the overarching What If story if the series continues forward, which it almost invariably will. We realized as we started developing the second season that Captain Carter was going to be the character we would revisit in every season and continue that adventure. Now, given the nature of the series, this might just mean that we're going to get another Captain Carter-centric episode in Season 2 to provide connective tissue to what they're hoping is going to be a fan-favorite episode and storyline. But one can't help but think they're actually building towards something bigger, namely a team-up in the classic Marvel Comics fashion. In Disney's D23 magazine, Jeffrey Wright says of his character Uatu the Watcher, in the comics he's an observer and then some. Here, in the first season, he starts off as an observer, but he gradually becomes more compelled by what he watches. And based on Wright's remarks, it sounds like a larger villain could emerge over the course of the first season of What If, maybe seeping in at the edges of these more self-contained stories that focus on unique premises. Now, this theory was actually bolstered by a tweet from @AnnComics, which showcased a piece of What If promotional art featuring the phrase Guardians of the Multiverse. Now, this group feature on the artwork includes Uatu the Watcher looming large over a team, including a dark version of Doctor Strange, Party Thor, Gamora, King Killmonger, Captain Carter, T'Challa as Star-Lord, and a version of Black Widow in her Red Room regalia. Now, this could just be a clever marketing slogan because, in a way, we're going to see each of these characters functioning as a guardian of their own pocket of the multiverse, but honestly, that's like too slick of a name to waste on promo marketing at the mall of all places. The bigger question here is who or what could be so threatening that it turned the Watcher into the Recruiter, putting together a team of heroes and anti-heroes from across multiple realities and timelines to stop some deadly threat. Now, there are two primary suspects here, one teased by toy releases, another teased by trailers and the comics themselves. So let's start with the former, who's one of the most enduring villains in Marvel Comics canon and a character we've already seen in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I'm talking about Ultron. As reported by Slash Film, the first look at King Killmonger's Funko Pop figure came with a surprising reveal. The MCU villain turned alt-reality king of Wakanda is holding Ultron's severed head in his hands. Now, the implication here is that Tony Stark, despite being saved from a cave with a box of scraps by Killmonger in the trailer, will still ultimately wind up creating the AI that goes rogue and turns into Robot California. However, if we've learned anything from the comics and from Avengers Age of Ultron, it's that this murderous robot is not limited to one body and he can send drones galore against his enemies. As Screen Rant recently posited, Ultron is a constant presence in the What If trailers, appearing as a fleet of murder bots in the sky, battling the Hulk, and in another shot with Party Thor as well. So maybe one version of Ultron has broken free from his multiversal yoke and is invading other realities, leading these disparate heroes from across time and space to come together to stop this synthezoid menace. It could also be building towards a riff on the Ultron Forever story arc in the comics. That's a multiversal time-traveling saga involving the earliest mention of Kang Enterprises, when Jane Foster Thor tries to warn the Vision about what's coming their way 8 months later in all-new, all-different Avengers #1. Namely, Mr. Griffin and Kang Enterprises, the company we saw teased in Loki Episode 5, which in the comics is fronted by yet another variant of Kang the Conqueror.
Don't tell me I'm a disappointment.
The other candidate for the big, overarching villain of the What If series, one that would necessitate the assembly of a superpowered team capable of stopping them, is the Marvel Zombies. Based on the 2007 miniseries by Robert Kirkman and Sean Phillips, Marvel Zombies took place in an alternate universe spinning out of Ultimate Fantastic Four #21. It's a story in which zombie Reed Richards seeks to leap across realities to spread a mysterious virus called the Hunger. It's a virus that transforms those who are infected into cannibalistic murder monsters, i.e. the titular Marvel Zombies. Now, those who satiate their need for human flesh retain their intelligence, but usually that's just in service of finding even fresher worlds to devour. Case in point, the original Marvel Zombies ends with a number of zombified heroes eating Galactus and traveling across the universe as cannibals imbued with the power cosmic. But as pointed out by The Direct, in 2007's Marvel Zombies 2, after picking the entire universe clean of sentient life and in search of fresh meat to eat, Hank Pym tells Wolverine that he remembers a machine that would let them travel between dimensions. Later in 2009's Marvel Zombies Return, one of the Watchers describes the Marvel Zombies as the greatest threat to all life in the multiverse, period. Now, this is definitely in line with Jeffrey Wright's comments in D23 about what might prompt the Watcher to stop simply observing and take more direct action instead. Or perhaps, as we and many others speculated during Loki, the villains necessitating the establishment of the Guardians of the Multiverse will be both Ultron and the Marvel Zombies, because this series is also building towards a Secret Wars crossover event in the MCU. In the 2015 Secret Wars series, countless realities and dimensions are smashed together in a brand new universe called Battle World, which is basically interdimensional Game of Thrones ruled over by God King Dr. Doom. But one of the tie-in stories, titled Age of Ultron vs. Marvel Zombies, pits endless hordes of Marvel Zombies against endless hordes of Ultron Sentinels. It's an elegant solution to a seemingly unsolvable problem. Well, at least it was an elegant solution until they joined forces, but that's a problem for another day. In the meantime, it's just something preposterous to look forward to whenever we eventually make our way to Secret Wars in 5 to 10 years' time. Anyway, folks, there you have it. That is everything you need to know about how What If could be building towards Marvel's next big super team and what villains they could be facing down. In the meantime, though, tell us, what do you think of this theory? What do you want to see from What If? And who do you think the big bad of the series will be, if there is one at all? Let us know in the comments below, and for the latest and greatest in the world of pop culture, stay tuned to Nerdist.com.